Good afternoon from AfricaCom 2024. I'm here together with Nurani Nimpuno, Head of Global Engagement at LINX. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, lovely to meet you.
First of all, congratulations to 30 years of LINX.
Yes, thank you.
It's what an achievement, right, in that industry, 30 years, a big history. Can you tell us a bit more about what LINX is doing and how was, let's say, the evolution over the last 30 years?
Absolutely. So you can imagine 30 years ago, early 90s, there was not as much happening in the internet space, and LINX was actually created by local ISPs who wanted to ensure that traffic stayed on the continent and didn't go to the US. And it grew from there. So we're a non-profit membership organization. We've always been about doing what's good for the internet and providing local interconnections. So that's what we do through our platform. And then over the years, it's evolved and we're providing other interconnection services at the IXP. But it's all really about interconnecting many players on the internet. So.
All right, so we are here in Africa. So we had a conversation last year. We recently just launched your Kenya LINX station. Can you tell us a bit more about your African journey and where you're heading to?
Absolutely. So we have one of the largest internet exchange point hubs in the world is in London. And we have a few exchange points in other parts of the world as well. But we could see from the very early days that we had a lot of networks connecting from Africa up to Europe. And that means that a lot of internet traffic that should really stay on the continent actually leaves the continent, goes up to Europe and comes back again. So when we started talking about how we could best serve Africa, we said, well, actually, maybe the best way to do it is to build something locally on the continent and to help facilitate that local interconnection for traffic that belongs to Africa to stay in Africa. So that's why we started looking at building something, and we ended up building something in Nairobi a year ago. So yeah.
So, but now this week is also very exciting for you because you have some great news to share. So you recently launched in Ghana, correct?
Yes. Well, we're about to launch in Ghana. So we started with Nairobi. That was a year ago, and it has grown tremendously since. We partnered with lots of local players, and we also got Meta to connect. We've also provided other services like Microsoft Azure peering through that connection. And that took us to the next step to actually launch another interconnection hub in Mombasa on the east coast of Kenya. So that's our next step. And then we just announced today, actually just a couple of hours ago, that we'll be building an internet exchange point in Accra, Ghana as well.
Oh, nice. Those are great news for the continent and also for your company. But how are you perceived locally? Because you are a company from the UK doing your business in Africa, and you mentioned already before it's for the connectivity in the country.
Yes, it's a really good question. So we are, like you just mentioned, we've been operating for 30 years. So we are experts in the field when it comes to the technology, the platform, but also we have over 1,000 networks connected in London. So we have connections with local, regional, international carriers, content providers, hyperscalers. That's what we bring, but we never claim to be the experts on the ground, so that's where the partnerships come in. For us, wherever we go, in Africa and elsewhere, we find local partners. They're the ones, so in many cases the data centers, but sometimes also ISP associations or others. They're the ones who have the ear to the ground, who know the local culture, the local needs. So for us, by bringing our expertise and experience and by partnering with the locals, we benefit from their experience and they benefit from our experience.
So it's also empowering the people locally.
Absolutely. And I think for us, it's also important wherever we go, we try to learn a lot from the local community, but we also do a lot of investment in the local community, capacity building and workshops and events where we meet the local stakeholders, and we also do technical trainings, things like that. And I think that's really, even our experience, from building something from very small to large in London, that's how we did it. So, working with the local community and getting all those bits and pieces together.
So there's a long-term strategy in place.
Absolutely. For us, actually, also because we're a membership-based organization, we need to be able to look our members in the eyes and say, we're doing this for the good of the internet, and we're doing it for the local community as well as our members. So wherever we go, we're looking at least 10, 15, 20 years ahead. So we're in it for the long run.
That sounds quite eventful. When we look at digital transformation on a continent, we also hear a lot about interconnectivity. Can you tell us a bit more from your side? What is your take on and what is the importance about it?
Yeah, so an IXP allows for better local interconnection between networks. We realize we are only one piece of the pie, but we're an important piece of the pie. So you need carrier neutral data centers, you need to have fiber infrastructure, you need to have all the local players talking to each other. We provide peering services, but we also provide other interconnection services at the IXP. And our experience from other regions is that an IXP fills a small but important role, but it can be a catalyst for growth because we bring all the different players together. And the presence of an IXP has shown in many studies brings down the cost of interconnection. It makes that region more resilient because there are more connections between the various players in that region, and it strengthens the community in that region. So we don't claim to solve all those things, but we try to be that catalyst.
So you're a crucial part of the solution.
Yes, yes. That's what we try to be. And I think in our other locations, that's what we've proven to be. And that's obviously our aim in Africa as well.
So when we look at your long history and now you're starting your African journey, what is your personal outlook if you look at the African market?
I think Africa has so much potential. I mean, it is a growing market, it's a very young population. What I find the most fascinating is that you think that each development on each continent is the same, but at different times, but it's not the case for Africa. I think while there's still a lack of fiber infrastructure on the continent, you can see it's amazing to see some of the submarine cable development. You can see there's a need for cloud, and you see these both the international cloud and the local cloud. We can now also see that there's a flurry of data centers in various countries around the continent. So given that, I can see that the digital transformation will happen quicker in many ways, I think, in Africa than other regions. And I think there will be this leapfrogging, if you want, where you can see that there are needs for companies and various organizations to use the internet, and they will not take all the steps that the other continents have taken, but they will go straight to that that digital transformation, high connectivity, cloud access, etc.
So you're optimistic?
I'm very optimistic.
That's good.
And I feel, to be honest, on a personal level, I feel privileged to be part of this journey, to see not just what's happening now, but to be part of the future journey.
Yeah, so you see the result as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. It was very insightful. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
It was TechAfrica News from AfricaCom 2024. You can find more on techafricanews.com.